Miami. Let the record reflect that it is Tuesday, September 9th, 2014. Our regular council meeting will begin at 7:20 p.m. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Acting Mayor Bien-Aimé,
Here.
Councilman Galvin,
Here.
Councilwoman Keys, Councilwoman Steril. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And now we will have a pledge of allegiance with Brendan Giff from Johnson & Wales. And after that, we will have the invocation with Pastor Gregory Toussaint from Tabernacle of Glory.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for the privilege of being here. We thank you, Father God, for the honor of partnering with you in governing this world. So, Father, we pray that today or tonight, as this team gather here, Lord, to make important decisions about our city, that you grant them your wisdom that comes from you and will reflect your will. In the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Special presentation. Again, good evening. Let me recognize some special people in the audience. I have our district board member, Team T. Haraway. Thank you. And we have former Mayor Kevin Burns. We have former Mayor Jacques Despinos. We have, before I present Jacques Despinos, sorry, we have former Mayor Frank Wollen and Council Member Jacques Despinos. And twice. Again, thank you for coming in. This is our regular council meeting. Before, and this is our regular council meeting after a long recess. But you know, we are North Miami, and we have the Chamber of Commerce, and we have our new president from the Chamber of Commerce. It's Germain Bébé. This is the North Miami Chamber of Commerce. Nobody else to recognize. Hispanic Heritage Month. That's the special presentation for tonight. Hispanic Heritage Month, it's a month-long celebration and honor to recognize the histories, cultures, and contributions of the ancestors from Spain, the Caribbean, Mexico, Central and South America. Many of those countries are reflected in the 27% Hispanic or Latinos population currently located in the great city of North Miami. This commemoration month commences on the 15th of September, which also includes the anniversaries of the independence of many Latin American countries such as Costa Rica, El Salvador, Mexico, Guatemala, and Chile. It ends after the recognition of Columbus Day on the 15th of October. For almost 40 years, Hispanic Heritage Week or month has been proclaimed by the President of the United States. It is an opportunity for many citizens to pay tribute to the Hispanic and or Latin traditions celebrated in our country today. It is important that the city of North Miami or the North Miami community comes together to honor and recognize the great influences of the Latin community. As the great activists for farm workers and leader Cesar Chavez once said, preservation of one's own culture does not require contempt or disrespect for other cultures. This thought exemplifies the importance of one's culture in our community and the significant influences. Chavez from the National Farm Workers Association, later known as United Farm Workers, he led marches, called for boycotts, and went on several hunger strikes to bring attention of the plight of farm workers. His family, as migrants, were farm workers, which encouraged him to dedicate his life to improve the treatment, pay, and working conditions to farm workers. Today, United Farm Workers of America is the nation's first successful and largest farm workers union, currently active in 10 states. The dedication of Cesar Chavez and his influence of today's history is to be greatly recognized and serve as a reminder that anyone has the ability to make a difference in this country, no matter the cultural background. And it's a great pleasure, and as a city, as a government body, to recognize the Hispanic community, and this is your month, and we have plenty of events for this month. And now I would like to call the chair of the committee, Councilwoman Carol Keys, to introduce the artists for this month.
Thank you. I am the honorary chair, not the chair. I'd like to bring up our committee to help us with the presentation this evening, and I would like to give special recommendation to our chair, Maida Pineda. I'm the honorary. This is our chair, Maida, and Andrea Ramos, who has worked so hard. We've worked for the past several months, weekly, putting together the entire month and our grand fiesta. And Antonio Leva needs some special recognition, who's really come out to our city, not staff, just helped us with our entertainment. We are going to unveil this beautiful poster by Sergio Payares, who was born in Havana, Cuba in 1962, who studied art at the Superior Art Institute in Havana. His work has been featured in solo as well as group exhibitions throughout Latin America and Europe. Since Mr. Payares grew up in Cuba, and in 1992, at the age of 30, he became frustrated with the stifled artistic climate in his homeland. And after 7 of his paintings were confiscated by the Cuban governmental officials, he decided to leave. Since then, he has called Miami his home, and he has recently located to a really beautiful studio in our own North Miami. Sergio has created an original artwork to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in North Miami, and his work is entitled Patrimonio, and it pays tribute to the legacy of the days of discovery. An artistic description states, Latin America is not composed of one, but many cultures. The fusion of these many cultures constitutes the patrimony of societies. As the honorary chair of the North Miami Hispanic Month for 2014, I would like to invite Mayor Bien-Aimé and our City Council to kick off our festivities by unveiling Mr. Payares' artwork. If Mr. Payares, Sergio Payares would come up, please. And we're going to unveil his beautiful poster. On behalf of the City of North Miami and the North Miami Mayor and City Council, we would like to present Mr. Payares with a certificate of recognition in honor of your, Mr. Payares, in honor of your contribution to the 2014 Hispanic Heritage Month in North Miami. I would like to acknowledge also our MOCA director, Babacar Mbao, for reaching out to you to commission such a special piece. I saved Babacar's recognition because he's been a tremendous help in our entire Hispanic Heritage Month and fiesta. So I would like to see if you'd like to say a few words. I'll hold this.
En español. Bueno, gracias. Thank you well, first for having my studio here in North Miami, for beautiful city, beautiful people, y bueno, nothing. No, y me estoy muy orgulloso de haber sido representante de la hispanidad en la ciudad y tener la obra aquí, la verdad.
He's
Gracias
very
por todo.
proud of very proud of having a studio here in the city of North Miami,
Yeah.
and thank you very much for this recognition this evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Es muy bonito. Muy bonito. Gracias. Okay. This is the first of a series of events that is going to be held in the city of North Miami in honor of our Hispanic Heritage Month. For more information, please visit our website, northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. For a list of all of our events, there are, I'm sure, placards outside with calendars. Definitely hope to see you. We're having a grand fiesta to kick off our Hispanic Heritage Month. It's going to be a fantastic party. We have music going from 7 to, I believe, 11. We have Grammy Award winners. We're going to have food booths. It's going to be spectacular. It's at Mocha Plaza, and 7 to 11, and I really hope that you'll all attend. And we have a lot of other festivities, dominoes, readings, cinema. So thank you, everybody. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Before we finish with special presentation, let me recognize Councilman Jean-Rodrigue Marcellus. And also I want to recognize Mrs. Furtherman from David Lawrence K-8 Center with a group of students. Can you play students from David Lawrence? Thank you for coming. That's conclude our special presentation. Thank you. Special event.
Yeah, Pam
Go ahead,
Thompson,
Pam.
Pam Solomon.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and to our viewers at home on NoMi TV 77 and live on the web. We'd like to share with you a few of our upcoming events for the month of September. And this week is actually September 11th, this Thursday. We are hosting a September 11th observance at 9 a.m. in front of the North Miami Police Department headquarters. 700 Northeast 124th Street. We invite you to please join us as we pause in remembrance of the tragedies of September 11th, 2001 on its 13th anniversary. This event will feature a presentation of colors by the North Miami Police Department Honor Guard and entertainment by trumpet soloist Gabriel Colon Jr., along with Commander Timothy Belcher performing the national anthem. As you heard, this Saturday, September 13th, is our La Gran Fiesta Block Party. This is our signature event for North Miami's Hispanic Heritage Month activities. The event will take place right next door in the Mocha Plaza, 770 Northeast 125th Street. It is a free event for the community. We invite you to bring your families and friends out that evening, this Saturday, 7 to 11 p.m. And it's part of our NoMi Musical Night series that we held throughout the year this year. We're presenting an evening of music, dancing, and Latin American flavors featuring Grammy Award winner Marlo Rosado y La Riqueña and Lisette Morales, La Mulata del Sabor. Join the fun, and food will be available for purchase from a variety of vendors that evening. For additional information on any of the programs we speak about here at the council meeting, you can log on to our website at northmiamifl.gov/celebrate. And also coming up, we have our Museum of Contemporary Art. North Miami is hosting an opening reception for our exhibit Third Space, Inventing the Possible. It's the story of visual artists who defy their otherness and enter the realm of the 21st century. This exhibition engages Miami artists in their articulations of the lines of continuities. We invite you to see the exhibit if you can't come out on Thursday, September 25th for our grand opening reception from 7 to 9 p.m. The exhibit will be on view through November 2nd at MoCA, right next door, 770 Northeast 125th Street. And just a reminder that North Miami residents are members of MoCA, so you enjoy free admission. For more information, you can visit our new website, mymoca.org. A few other announcements. On behalf of the North Miami Public Library, I'd like to remind you that our library is currently closed for an exciting renovation project. We are working to enhance library services and access to technology for the community. So we will be closed for approximately 5 months. However, a temporary annex location will be located on the library property adjacent to the library building that is not yet open, but you can contact our library staff during the regular operating hours of the library, which are posted on our website at northmiamifl.gov/NoMi library. That's NOMI library. Or you can contact them on the phone line. The main line of the library is 305-891-5535. Additionally, on the website, we have our list of programs that have been relocated. Our library director, Lucia Gonzalez, and her staff have worked with, in collaboration with the Parks and Recreation Department, as well as our local schools, to relocate a lot of the programs that take place at the library. So visit the website for ongoing updates or contact the library staff. And once the temporary annex location is open, you'll be able to access computer access there at the temporary location until the new and improved library is open. It's a $1.5 million renovation for the North Miami Public Library, which was made possible through the Progress 2013 funding allocation, as well as a $500,000 grant from the State of Florida Division of Libraries and Information Services. So we're really excited to be able to do this. The last time the library was renovated was in 1985. So it's been some time, a long time coming. Also, just save the date for those of you that are interested in our budget hearings for the next fiscal year. Our fiscal year 2014-2015 begins on October 1st. Our first hearing is tomorrow evening right here in the council chambers at North Miami City Hall at 6 p.m. And our final budget hearing will be held on Monday, September 22nd, also at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. Once again, for any of our information, please log on to the web, northmiamifl.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. You're done. City project.
I'd like to present my latest addition to the executive staff, Public Works Director Whistler Pierre-Louis.
Good evening. Just to follow up with Ms. Sullivan, the library is set to begin construction in about 2 weeks, and the construction period will be about 150 days. We also have a project that's called the North Bayshore Park, which is in the design development phase. The designs are being reviewed by RER right now, and construction is scheduled to begin October 3rd and to be completed on December 31st. We also have the Sans Souci Alleyway Fence project, which is scheduled to begin in about 2 months. And the actual construction shouldn't take about anything more than 2 months to be completed. Also, we have force main projects underway. We have a force main being constructed on Biscayne Boulevard from about 105th Street to 116th Street. We had a pre-construction meeting for the Northeast 131st Street force main project. That project is scheduled to begin by October. We also have District 2 sidewalks that the bids came in last week, I believe. So the beginning of that project should be very shortly. And now I'd like to delve into the District 3 improvements. Okay. And I'll try to keep it brief. In District 3, we have 4 pocket parks. We have 1 pocket park that was completed on 127th Street and Griffin Boulevard. We have 1 in progress on 129th Street and Griffin Boulevard. 1 pending design and quotes on 131st, and 1 to begin when the contractor is selected. We also have a triangle that has landscaping being done at this moment. The landscaping is in progress, and the trees have been removed, and the site has been cleaned up. We also have 18 median tips, which are about 90% complete. I also have pictures of the progress of some of these projects towards the end of the PowerPoint presentation. We also have swell trees that will be installed, and right now we're obtaining quotes. The sidewalk improvements in District 3 are scheduled to begin in about 2 to 3 weeks. We met with the contractor last Friday. We have right-of-way improvements that are also scheduled to begin shortly. The right-of-way improvements include sidewalk improvements, swell improvements, and paving. We resurfaced the roads. We had 3rd Avenue and 4th Avenue in District 3 have been paved. The 5th Avenue will also be paved when the monies come in, I think, when the monies come in the next fiscal year. We're obtaining the quotes to install 48 oak trees throughout District 3, and the work at the West Dixie Highway Fountain and 132nd Street has been completed. Right now, you're looking at a picture of one of the pocket parks in District 3. This is another pocket park. This is the design and the type of landscaping that was installed, or that's planned to be installed at 126th and 3rd Avenue. These are the median tips. This is one of them that has been improved with the landscaping with the trees and the grass and other plants. This is the street resurfacing project, a freshly paved road. This is a traffic calming device. What you're looking at specifically here is a traffic circle. We have 3. We have one on 139th and 11th, one on 134th and 5th, and one on 131 and 5th, which is currently in progress. Right here, you're looking at the speed humps that are also located in District 3. This is the before picture for the sidewalk improvements. These are the conditions that are throughout that have been identified, and we are slated to improve this and have this all addressed before the end of the year. As you can see, it's a trip hazard, which needs to be addressed. Again, another trip hazard. It's secure, but we can do better, and we'll do our best to improve it with the contractor that we have on board. There are also areas that do not have sidewalks that will have newly installed sidewalks. Again, another picture of an area without a sidewalk. This is the intersection of 134th Street and Northeast 4th Avenue. And that completes the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Whistler. Hurricane preparedness.
Dr. Floyd.
Good evening, everyone. As you all know, hurricane season is June 1st through November 30th, with historically September and October being the most dangerous months for Miami-Dade County. Mr. Moleda from the National Weather Service Forecast Office in South Florida clearly explained the basic for September and October being the most active and potentially riskier month for South Florida in hurricane season is our history of hurricane strikes. Most of the hurricanes that hit South Florida over the past 150 years have struck in September and October. A total of 34 out of 47 hurricanes that have struck our part of the peninsula have occurred in September and October. Of course, this does not mean that we will certainly be hit, or there is even a higher chance that we will. However, those 2 months, September and October, are the one in which we are most vulnerable, and historically speaking, we are in South Florida most vulnerable to have hurricane. As of today, the city of North Miami is as prepared as it has always been for this time of the hurricane season. We are urging our residents to be prepared and remain prepared for whatever may come between now and November 30th, and be on alert for the month of September and October.
Thank you. And Dr. Claude, the 311 is not a part of hurricane preparedness now? It's a different thing.
It's a different thing, and we're working on it.
Okay. And thank you very much. If we don't have any question about that. And Mr. City Manager, no questions? Is there any addition, deletion to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab H, I'd like to pull tab H. We have
You're gonna pull tab H?
Yes. Since the agenda was issued, we have received notification that we did not receive the grant, so there's no need for ratification of this.
Okay.
And tab Y, the discussion on the mayoral election.
Tab, with tab, you're gonna remove it, right?
Right. We are pulling those two tabs.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a request.
Tab Y, you move discussion about the one-off,
Yes,
and
we
tab
remove.
H
Correct.
have been removed. Okay.
And tab X, as in Xavier, we would like to put it after the consent agenda, since the two speakers are present.
Okay. And go ahead.
May I also ask that we move tab S as in Sam?
S.
S as in Sam to the item right after X after the consent agenda, because I know there's several people here who want to speak on S, and since
About
it's
the
such a long
pit bull?
agenda. About the pit bulls.
You wanna move it to right after X?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's the second item on the agenda. Okay. All in favor, say.
Aye.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move the consent agenda.
Anyone wish to record a no? Consent agenda pass. Mr. Clerk, did it pass? He's gonna speak. Yeah.
Consent agenda pass 4-0. Tab X, discussion regarding the life safety issue of the downed power poles in Keystone.
Okay, that item is sponsored by Councilman Scott Galvin.
Sure, thank you. Back in April, a semi-truck of some sort entering Keystone caught hold of some low-hanging utility wires, almost pulled down one full pole, and like a domino effect, yanked over several others in the area. Back in April, then the community contacted me, I contacted staff, we contacted utility companies. I'm proud to report, thankful to report that AT&T and FP&L have been out there working very diligently in the last few days. Several residents have called me to say that the work has gone on by leaps and bounds, but obviously we want to see it completed, done, and over after 4 or 5 months. So if either FPL or AT&T has anything to comment, I'd love to hear their
It's
thoughts.
not only it's almost throughout the city that we having those issues, and I know we have FPNL here ready to speak on the item. Yes, ma'am, can you say your name on
Yes.
behalf of
Good evening.
which company?
I'm Aletha
you're here?
Player, Florida Power and Light Company. My address is 4200 West Flagler Street in Miami. Thank you, Councilman Scott Galvin. As he said, he sent me the picture of the incident that occurred showing the tractor trailer truck having pulled the wires down. Just a point of information to everyone, our wires are at the top of the pole. And anytime it can be confusing to some customers, residents, as to who owns what wires or even who owns the poles. We own probably about 1.2 million poles throughout the state. And we don't expect the customers or the residents to be able to distinguish between our wires versus some of the communication wires, because with communications you have both Comcast and also your telephone. But having received the picture, it was very insightful. We were able to come out immediately to secure the pole. After that happened, of course, the other utilities were advised. It did take a little time in order to get all the coordination, because there was a lot of facilities on that pole. Now, in addition to that particular pole, there have been a number of other poles that we have been working on the east side of the highway. We do have plans to do more work on the west side of the highway in 2015. Some of the work that we've completed on the east side includes our pole inspection program. We have inspected every pole in our system, and that pole inspection program is more than just a visual. It's actually a strength testing, and with that, if the pole is found to be needs to be replaced, we replace it. If we can treat it, we treat it. In addition to that, over on the east side, we have been replacing some of the pole and converting them through our hardening program, which basically the hardening program allows our facility to withstand winds greater than, I think it's 120 miles per hour. That came about as a result of all of the hurricanes that we had in 2006 and 2007. So we're very active in your community on the east side. You'll see more work like that on the west side, but that's part of our 2015 budget. There are some remaining facilities on the east side which still require some coordination. The last report that I got, which was Monday, there's probably maybe about a dozen poles that still require some of the other utilities to transfer their facilities. Once we install a pole, we have to literally, we notify the other utilities, and those utilities have to schedule their work to be done. Once that utility does, then the next utility schedules their work to be done. So that's why it's taken us longer than what you would like. There was one pole in particular, lots of work, which is at the entrance of Keystone. That pole, we did some work over there on the weekend, and I think there is still some work to be done with the other utilities. And with that, I'll have Mr. Holloway address.
By the way, do you have a plan for the city of North Miami?
We have a plan for all of our cities, including the city of North Miami. Okay. This year, for example, Keystone, if I can just speak to that, we have actually inspected all of the poles in Keystone. I personally drove through the city of Keystone with Councilman Keys.
We don't have a city. You said city of Keystone.
The area.
Oh, the
I'm
area.
sorry.
But you
I'm
said
sorry.
city.
My
I thought-
apologies.
oh.
Thank you. We've driven through the area of Keystone, identified some work that needed to be done. Much of that has been completed. As I said, on the west side of North Miami, we do have plans to do some work with our hardening program, and that's budgeted for 2015.
Which is how much?
I'm sorry?
Did you pass the budget yet?
No,
Not
we're,
yet.
we're
Oh,
in
you-
that just as you are,
Mhm.
we're in that process as well. Our budget year is from January through December, so we won't be approving the budget until later this year, but I do know that there is work being planned. The other thing I wanted to mention, I heard earlier that you're planning to improve a lot of the right-of-way areas in the city of North Miami. I'd like to encourage you to please consider the type of plants that you plant under the trees. The plants may be small now, but they do grow and they impact reliability. That's why some customers get flickers. So we have a program called Right Tree and Right Place, and we will voluntarily come and work with your folks to make some recommendations where the trees will work in harmony with the electric lines.
Mr. T.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mayor, Council, and Mr. Manager, and all of the staff. It's great to be here. My name is Wilbert T. Holloway. I am representing AT&T. My address is 150 West Flagler Street, Suite 1900. I'm here on behalf of our company, the third utility on the pole, whatever pole that might be. We have my colleague, and I do say colleague because both Aletha and I represent, well, she's 40 years with FPL. I'm 42 with AT&T. So we have about 82 years here in this community, in this neighborhood, representing our corporations, and certainly we're accessible. And we say that as it relates to making sure that you contact us and include us when concerns do come up. I received a copy of a memo regarding this particular issue on July the 30th. And when I received that, we responded immediately to look into the matter. And at that time, we began to make sure we address the concerns that were presented to us. So as we look at what happens, as Aletha Player mentioned to you, that there are a series of transfers that occur. And these transfers begin with FPL at the top, next is Comcast, and then it's AT&T. And so as we look at transferring those wires from pole to pole and then removing the pole, we have a lot of activity that takes place. And so it's not just rushing out there and standing up a pole, taking a pole out. We have a series of transfers. And on this particular pole, there were more than 200 pairs for us that we had to transfer, which is very complicated as it relates to moving services. And when you're dealing with electrical, there are other complications that Aletha shared with you. And as we deal with these complications, we do it in a safe way. And while the pole leaned, it was never a threat to safety. That's our first priority, and we want you to make sure that never was it a concern, but to get it expeditiously done was something that we had to work on and work with each other in doing that. And that goes on and on. At this moment, our last report, as Aletha mentioned to you, we're showing that we have only one FPL transfer, 17 cable transfers, 13 AT&T transfers remaining to transfer off the poles. However, there still remains 70 and 69 poles, respectively, to be removed. And once we get through this particular process, those poles will be removed, and it will be another beautiful area as it has been in the past. But we're working to make sure that that happens, and it happens as soon as possible. We, as Councilman Galvin mentioned to you, that yes, we have been working almost around the clock to make sure that we got this done. So thank you for allowing us to come and update you on where we stand with this issue and other issues that we have regarding our utilities in your cities. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? And Councilwoman Keys?
I would like to thank you for coming out, and I know that Ms. Player sent a crew out, and I walked a couple miles in Keystone, and we did evaluate some poles, and Ms. Player came out again right after the accident. We did look at that pole and several others. There are poles in Keystone that just don't belong. There's a pole hanging there that is not even being used by FPL. What I would like to see is our public works be a little bit more aggressive. The wires are just so low and sloppy, which is what happened on the entrance of Keystone. We thought, you know, the police came out, the wire was down, waited an hour for FPL just in the rain just to find out, oh, it's not FPL, it's Comcast. So I really wish Comcast was here, because they are another source of some very low, sloppy wires hanging around on the ground, being with yellow tape. And I would like to just see those wires raised, some of those poles at the base of the bridge that it's just a dead pole hanging there, just cleaned up, because they look horrible and the low-lying wires are a hazard. But thank you for coming out.
Who on the poles? We have all of them.
It depends.
Okay.
The majority of them FPL owns, but
Owns them.
my peer here, they own a few as well.
AT&T on Summers?
As we reported to you, yes, at this moment,
Okay.
there remain 70 FPL poles and 69 AT&T poles that need to be removed.
Okay.
That need to be removed. There might not be wires on them. They might be vacant,
Okay.
but that's a part of this entire process
Okay.
that we're working on. So the poles, you can look at. There was one way a friend told me that we can tell the difference in the poles by the tops, round tops, or those with flat top. Okay.
Okay.
Flat, it's his.
Okay.
If it's round, it's hers.
Okay. And
That's a little peak.
okay. Do you have any
Okay.
questions?
That's from
Councilman
years
Scott
ago.
Galvin?
Yes, that was years ago.
Okay.
It's been very, very educational learning about all of this since it happened. I mean, obviously, Aletha, I barraged you when I started getting barraged with all these concerns, because my thought was, well, these are FPL poles, and come to learn there are all these different utilities sharing the same poles. Now I'm glad to be able to tell the difference between what pole, and if there are more complaints after all of this, I'll know which one of you to reach out to, and I thank you for being so attentive to getting it taken care of.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Ms. Uti. Good to see you, Alita. Welcome back. We have not heard from FPNL for a very long time, so I hope that you make plan to come back to give us more updates. What is the plan that you guys have for the hurricane season? I have not seen your truck around cutting the trees, because I know the previous years that you guys have been doing some works.
We do have a plan for line clearing for our major lines, which are the lines in front of your homes. Typically, those are on a 3-year cycle. However, we recognize that some of these trees are more fast growing, and I would ask that if that's the situation, we do have a program where you would let us know, you know,
Okay.
through the manager's office, and we will send someone out, one of our arborists, to inspect it. And if in fact it is in our wires, we'll go ahead and clear it. Having said that, though, sometimes we get inquiries from residents saying that the trees are touching the wires, and they're actually touching some of the communications wires. They're not touching FPL wires. And in that case, you know, we would encourage the resident to talk with the other utilities.
Okay, my other question, I understand that you do have budget to change or to do some kind of survey on the west side. is that in collaboration with AT&T or Comcast, or it's
No, this is part of our storm hardening program, where initially, when the program began in 2006, we actually identified all of the critical, what we refer to as critical infrastructure. Those are hospitals, 911, water treatment facilities, where we harden the feeder from the substation throughout. So we've completed all of that. The second round of hardening, we identified all of the gas stations, grocery stores on major thoroughfares, because our objective is to bring about some sense of normacy as quickly as possible. So that's the process that we're going through now. So as a result of inspecting the poles, strengthening the poles, we're also hardening our system to withstand, higher wind.
okay? Thank you. Good
You're
to see you again.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for
Thank you very-
adjusting your agenda to allow us to move that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So no vote regarding tab X, tab
It
S.
was a discussion.
Proposed ordinance deleting all references to the prohibition and violation of the selling, purchasing, acquiring, or maintaining pit bulls within the borders of the city of North Miami, and thereby repealing Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Animal Control and Article 2 entitled Dog Control, and Section 4-27 entitled Pit Bull Dogs Prohibited, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Okay, regarding tab S, who's gonna speak, city attorney or Mr. Galvin, and explaining exactly what it is?
Sure. I can start, and then Regine, you correct me when I make mistakes. Okay. In 1989, Miami-Dade County passed an ordinance that banned pit bulls in Dade County. Any type of pit bulls. In 1990, the state legislature then passed a different piece of legislation that said if you didn't have one at that moment, no communities could ever pass any more breed-specific legislation banning animals. Well, in 2007, not realizing what the state legislature had done 17 years before, North Miami passed what was essentially an illegal piece of legislation. We passed legislation that banned pit bulls in North Miami. Now, of course, they were already banned because of the county ordinance, but for whatever reason in 2007, we took it up and passed our own ordinance. It was brought to my attention that our 2007 ordinance was out of line with the state law, and so I brought this forward tonight just so we could take it all off of our books. Now, if we pass this tonight and at the next meeting, the existing 1989 ban on pit bulls by Miami-Dade County is still in force, is still in place, and if I'm correct, we still couldn't have pit bulls in North Miami because of the county ordinance. So this is really just sort of a...
If I understand, we are repealing an article in our Code of Ordinance.
Yeah.
Is it that?
And it was something that we should not have put in place anyway. We just didn't realize it.
That is correct. We are repealing it, so we're deleting it, removing it from the code.
And now we're using the county.
We already use the county. The
Okay.
city does not currently enforce its pit bull ordinance. The county
Is doing
enforces. So if, for example, if there's a pit bull found somewhere, our code compliance officers would call the county, and that county animal control would take over and enforce. We do not currently enforce pit bull.
Okay, thank you. And public hearing is open on tab S.
Frank Wolin, 12865 West Dixie Highway. I think my memory is not what it should be. I thought we had passed a dangerous dog ordinance even before 2007. But I don't know and haven't looked it up. I will say that I like it that our city has its own dangerous dog ordinance. I question whether under the home rule charter we are allowed to have our own, notwithstanding any state law. I do think pit bulls can be, depending on,
what's going on, very dangerous. And it's, I did a case about 3 years ago and recovered almost $500,000 for a little girl who got bit real bad by 2 pit bulls, and you wouldn't want these dogs living next door. So I know that some people may not like me to say that, but I have a lot of confidence in our own police department, our own court enforcement to enforce our code of ordinances. I don't, if I had to call the police, I'd much rather have the North Miami police come than the Dade County police. The response time is very different, and ours is very good. So I'm just, voicing my concerns, because if there's any way for us to keep our own ordinance, I would prefer to see us do that. And I guess it's also a question for the city attorney whether we could under the Home Rule Charter. Thank you.
Public hearing still open on tab S.
Let me get this down here. Good evening, Council. My name is Dahlia Keynes, 6448 West 11th Lane, Hialeah, Florida. I am currently the founder and director for the Miami Coalition Against Breed-Specific Legislation. This is a nonprofit organization based on education and awareness, fighting bans, not only on pit bulls, but on all dogs. Currently, there are 75 banned breeds throughout our nation, including pugs and Labradors. This is senseless. First of all, the pit bull, there is no such thing as a pit bull. That is a generic term for a group of dogs. Most of them are legal. It is very hard to identify any type of breed of dog by visual means, especially on physical characteristics. It is literally impossible. No animal welfare group or organization supports breed-specific legislation. We are currently working with the Miami-Dade County Commissioners to have this ban repealed. You have an excellent county dangerous dog ordinance. You have now an anti-tethering law. You have now, I believe they're going to be passing the puppy mill ordinance. You have severe anti-dog fighting laws with felony penalties on there. You never needed this. And you certainly don't need it now. No one needs this. Always look at the other end of the leash. There is your problem. We work with officials as yourselves. Thank you, I guess. Together, our main weapons are education and awareness. I travel throughout the nation giving educative seminars in universities, and we have been very successful. I've given 3 at UM and 4 at FIU, and they are packed. So, and on the your ordinance that you passed, we have, I think, 3 or 4 general counsels in our organization. They've all taken a look at it, and I can assure you that it is illegal. It's in direct violation of state statute. We've had to deal with this in 2 other counties throughout Florida, and they have been removed. We work on amicable terms. We're here for you if you need to. If you ever have a problem with any type of breed in any type of dangerous situation, we are more than glad to work with you. We will come to your schools, whatever, to seminars. Like I said, education and awareness. And one more thing, your North Miami ordinance on pit bulls is being enforced. I've got 20 people that have been complained in the past 4 years their dogs were taken away. It's all recorded. So this is why, let Miami-Dade County take care of it. This is not your job, I guess, if you want to call it that way. But you do not need this ordinance. You don't need the Miami-Dade County ordinance either.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And let me remind you that you have 2 minutes, please. Everybody.
Kenneth Each, 776 Northeast 125th Street. I didn't know we had a local pit bull ordinance, and whatever the terminology is. I just read the agenda when I was home. If we have a local ordinance, I think we should keep it. If you want to change the name and rectify it, so be it. But we should have a local ordinance. I see pit bulls all over the city. They're dangerous. We had a little child attacked and murdered and mauled. The county voters in this great county by 60% said keep the ordinance, and I think we should keep the ordinance. And if our ordinance is incorrectly written, then let's rewrite it. I don't know if you want to call them pit bulls, if you want to call them American bulldogs or whatever the heck they're called, I have no idea. I know they're not French poodles, but I'll tell you one thing, they're darn dangerous out there. I've had arguments with people. I've had them walking down my street off the leash, letting their pit bulls chasing cats and everything else out there, and I'm darn afraid of them. I was a police officer for 33 years, and I'm darn scared of those dogs. They're dangerous. The bad guys are using them to protect their dope deals and all this other stuff. This is like an extension of their masculinity. And what they're doing to these dogs is absolutely wrong. The voters in this county said, by 60% said, we don't want them here. And if we can make it out of local ordinance, let's do it. Thank you.
Public hearing still open on tab S.
Jacques Despinos, 95 Northeast 131, North Miami. So far, I have to agree with the chief and Frank Rowland. We have ordinance, we keep ours. After all, we have the home rules. The county have the ordinance, the state have theirs, that's okay. But if there's a problem occur, it's much easier for us, residents of this city who pay tax here, to pay our police department because we know them by first name. They will respond quickly to a need instead of waiting for the county to come to a rescue. So if it doesn't hurt, I don't know why, Councilman Galvin, you want to pull it. It's there. You're not trying to pass one, but you have ones already there.
But ours was passed illegally. That's what's getting lost here in the emotion of the moment.
Okay.
Ours was passed in 2007 by this city council.
Before the county or after the county ordinance?
After the county ordinance was adopted in 1989. It's in place. Nothing we do here tonight changes that. Any pit bull on the street tonight, tomorrow morning, is still illegal in Dade County because the Dade County ordinance was passed in 1989.
So we don't have to call the police department here or the manager, we could direct to the county. That's what
We
you
can call
said.
the county, we can call our animal control, we can call the city manager, you can call me. If you see a pit bull in our street tonight, tomorrow morning, 305-895-1755, that's my home phone number, call me. What I'm trying to do is just clean up the paperwork. The county passed its ordinance in 1989. In 1990, the state said any law breed specific passed from this moment forward is null and void. You can't do it. It's illegal, I guess, is the
Okay,
term used.
that's good enough
And
for
then
me. I will wake you up.
17 years later, we passed ours and we didn't
Thank
know.
you.
I'm just trying. It's a paperwork cleanup. That's what I was.
Let me ask the city attorney a question before. Oh, public hearing still open on tab S, excuse me. Sorry.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Allison Warren. I live at 650 Northeast 82nd Terrace in the city of Miami. Actually, I haven't been here for a while since the several prior councils tried to deal with cat colonies and cat feeders, as I recall. Mr. Rill, you were here, and Mr. Galvin was here, and almost nobody else except for some of our other staff. I am not affiliated with any particular group right now. I do dog and cat rescue. I'm a paralegal, and I've been involved in all sorts of rescue type issues for a long time. What the gentleman said before about how he's afraid when he sees all these dogs running loose on the street because they're humans, haven't bothered to put them on a leash, maybe that's part of the problem. The bottom line here is, with an ordinance like this, if it were applied to humans instead of animals, somebody could walk up the street and say, you look like somebody that's bad. I'm going to arrest you and put you someplace where they can kill you in 5 days. Or send you away because you don't belong here. Identifying a pit bull is not like identifying other purebred animals. And to simply state it, cut to the chase, the state said only Dade County's ordinance that's grandfathered in is legit. No other municipal government that I'm aware of in the state of Florida has an ordinance like this remaining on the books because of what the state legislature did. There's no point to it. Dade County Animal Services, you've got great animal services people here. I don't know where you would put dogs that you pick up, or do you put them at the jail and hold them for animal services? I don't know that you have a proper facility, but to simply target one alleged breed that may or may not be a purebred, you could have a Mastiff mix with the same cut for their ears, and somebody who doesn't know can pick up that dog and say, that looks like a pit bull, let's take it and kill it in 5 days. That's what happens. You can talk to somebody like Rachel Ray, who has a pit bull. It's her favorite thing in the whole wide world. These are animals that, just like humans, should not be pointed out and said, you look bad. You look like something that doesn't belong in our society. We're going to get rid of you just because of what you look like, because there's no DNA test. There's no real standard except a visual standard. And frankly, in this particular instance, you do have the county ordinance that's going to stand until such time as it's repealed, if that happens. But the state law has basically sent all the rest away. Broward tried something a couple of years ago, and they decided that the state law would triumph over that as well. So please do consider taking this off your books. I think it's a waste of space, a waste of paper, and you've got a perfectly good county ordinance that does deal with this. If you drive through the Redlands, you'll see on certain trash pickup days, dead animals lying on the swale waiting for trash pickup because of the fighting rings. It's not the dogs that are bad, it's what the humans that have them make them. The biggest biters on record are dachshunds and cocker spaniels. They may not bite as hard, but they bite a whole lot more because they're bred as burrowing hunting dogs. You can take any animal or any human and cause it to be destructive by the way you raise it. And I'm sure you've seen that in your crime statistics. Abusers become abusers. Or the abused become abusers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you. Public hearing still open on tab S.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Riesgo. I reside in Broward County, 12729 Northwest 13th Manor, Coral Springs. Wasn't planning on speaking tonight, but I just had to. I have a 3-year-old pit bull, American Staffordshire Terrier is what they are called. I found her when she was 10 weeks old in a shopping cart outside of a Sam's Club. She's 3 years old now, and she is not only a registered therapy dog, but a service dog. She works with autistic and Down syndrome children. She also goes into public schools in Broward County with the struggling second grade readers. We are out at the Fort Lauderdale Airport. She's an ambassador dog for the airport. We visit folks while they're waiting for their flights to leave. She also goes into nursing homes 2 or 3 times, 4 times a week. She's out and about, helping her community and also representing her breed. When I did find her and realize what type of breed she is, I knew I needed to be an educated dog owner. And this is what we need to do, is educate folks on not only the breed, but educate them on how to raise. It doesn't matter if it's a pit bull, doesn't matter if it's a Chihuahua. We all need to be responsible dog owners. And yes, keep our dogs on a leash, have some obedience training. She not only has gone through many obedience classes, she is a Canine Good Citizen certified dog with the AKC. So it's not the breed. It is educating people, educating the dog, and being a responsible dog owner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Public hearing still open on tab S. Public hearing is now closed. Madam City Attorney, let me ask you a question of Mr. Alim. Under the current law right now, if someone see a pit bull and call the city What do you do?
Well, our animal control officer, who's under the supervision of the Code Enforcement Division, he actually responds, and based on his response and based on the size of the animal, then he calls out Miami-Dade County Animal Control to make a determination.
If it seems like it's a pit bull.
Correct. In order to make a determination, he calls out Miami-Dade County Animal Control.
Okay, now, if we repeal that law, what's going to happen? If
The
someone
same-
called the city? The same?
The same process will take place.
Okay. And now public hearing is closed, and Councilwoman Keys?
Did we get an answer from our attorney? Do you agree with Councilman Galvin that the law that we passed in 2007 was illegal based on the previous Florida statute?
Well, so the Florida statute does say that laws passed post-1990, well, it doesn't say that they're illegal. It just says that you can't.
Invalid?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the county ordinance, which was passed prior to the 1990 ordinance, is what the city code refers to. And it says that nothing in this section shall be construed to be in conflict with the Miami-Dade County Code. So we use the Miami-Dade County Code, but it is true that it was passed post-1990.
Okay. So our
What
my
is your advice now?
my opinion is that our law was passed and is not necessarily valid, but we are still subject to the Dade County laws. That being said, I personally feel that there's a lot of breeds out there that are very dangerous, and you go for pit bulls, you go for German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans. Twice I've had 2 different puppies attacked while they're on leashes, not pit bulls. And it is the owners that are causing the dogs to be mean, vicious. It's not the breed. And I would be happy to make sure that our laws were strong enough to cover dog fighting, tethering, which we have, and to inflict the onus on the owners, not the animals. But seeing as our law is invalid anyway, I have no problem removing it.
And just to add to that, if, as it stays right now, if Miami-Dade County, our ordinance is repealed, Miami-Dade County still, their ordinance stands or supersedes ours.
But just be mindful that if the state law changes and they push forward the date or they repeal, then, and the cities do have the ability to enact ordinances at that point, the cities may not have the ability to enact ordinances. So you understand? So it may impact how we move forward. So just want to keep that into
I'm
consideration.
sorry, say it again. If we repeal
So,
the
for
current
example, the
ordinance?
state statute currently says that you can't have a breed-specific ordinance, breed-specific, any type of breed-specific,
Okay.
German Shepherd, whatever. And it says that, but that doesn't apply to any local ordinance prior to 1990. It only applies to ordinances post, after 1990. But the state law can change. Our
This
law
one was
changes.
before.
This, ours was
This was
after
after.
1990,
After,
correct.
If the state
So
law
the,
change,
sto-
what
the
happens?
state law could change, and well, we don't know what it would depend on what it changed to. I'm just saying that is a factor that you may want to consider in terms of how you move forward.
Yep.
We have no idea whether it will, whether it won't, but it's just,
But it doesn't matter if the state law change, we have to submit.
we have
To
to
the-
submit to both the
state.
county and the state, that is correct.
Yeah, but most likely the county cannot have any law that's not in
That's
agreement
lesser
with the.
than
Correct,
that's
the
correct,
state.
correct.
higher than the
State,
state.
county, city.
I understand that. So the argument that we're having up here is kind of irrelevant, because even though if it's not illegal, as Councilman Galvin said, even if we remove it, but we still have to abide by the county.
That's correct.
But I'm not so much concerning about this, because we did that so many times where the county has a resolution or an ordinance, then we still create our own, mimic exactly the same thing that the county have. Just because that we are a city, we want to reflect our own law and regulation. But the fine line that I'm not getting yet, I'm not getting the answer. If we keep the ordinance the way that we have it now, which is mimic the one that the county has, are we in any violation right now? If we do, that's what I want to know. Because if we don't, I don't mind keep it, because we are city, we do that all the time. But if we do in violation to the state law, which is tell us that if you pass any resolution after, which we're not passing anything new, we're just mimicking our big sister, which is the county, is telling us what to do. We're just repeating it and putting it in our book. That's how I feel. So is that what it is legally, or it's not?
Well, I think because we certainly cannot enforce our city ordinance on its own. We cannot enforce our city ordinance because of the state prohibition.
Okay. So that was just like,
so even if it stays on the books, you don't enforce it.
technically you do, you don't, because it's the same thing as the county, and we have to reinforce the county regulation. Is it the same thing?
We have to abide. We can't. Well, we certainly can't conflict with the county, but we have to abide by the county. And
Yeah,
then
but
we,
is it what we have on the book is the same?
Is it- it
exactly
mirrors
the
the-
same
it
thing?
mirrors the
So what is
county.
your it seems like there's a technical issue. What is your recommendation as a council?
well, you don't enforce it, so there's no harm in removing it because it does not impact how you regulate dog control.
So how would that impact us if the
It doesn't-
county, if the state, if we don't remove it, we keep it in there, and the state pass another resolution or another ordinance, another law, so how does that impact us?
Well, it depends on what the law is, right? So
Yeah,
if,
but
the,
we
if,
just
if
have
the
to-
state, for example, decides to repeal that law, then you could enforce the city ordinance.
So my last question, hopefully, if we find a pit bull out there on the streets, and then the city actually the constituent call, citizens call, the city go pick it up, so, and then the person go take us to court, are we in violation of what is it? Are we fighting under our law, which we should not have, or are we representing under the county law we should go, by.
Well, so it depends on what happens. It depends on the basis by which the code enforcement officer issues a violation. The problem is that, as you've heard, it's difficult to make a determination as to what a pit bull is. So we don't. We would have.
Move it. It's too much technicality.
We don't have the expertise to make that type of determination. So we wouldn't know whether it's a pit bull.
If I understand, the state prohibited the city to make that determination, right?
From
Unless
having,
it
from
was
having an
before.
ordinance, correct. From having an ordinance that
Since
is
you
breed
pass it
specific.
after, and you shouldn't make that determination, then I don't see why
Did you
we
make the
couldn't
motion?
remove it.
Did you make the motion, Scott? I'll second
No.
it.
No, we're just gonna.
I'll make a motion to approve tab S on first reading.
I second for the purpose of moving on.
Roll call vote, Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Councilwoman wrong paper. Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril,
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme.
Yes.
Tab S passes 4-0. Now, let's go to tab K. Let me get my paper in order now. All right.
And now
Now
we
we
get
are
the agenda
tab.
started.
I know, right? Finally, we can start.
No.
Tab K, proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, ratifying the city manager's purchase order pursuant to resolution number 2014-R-56 for the purchase and
Where you are?
delivery.
You are tab K?
Tab K, for the purchase and delivery of unleaded gasoline and diesel fuel for city-owned vehicles from Macmillan Oil Company of Florida, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $1 million per year, in accordance with the Southeast Florida Governmental Purchasing Cooperative Group, RFP number 14-A-035, as amended, in order to maintain a continuous supply and delivery of motor fuel as required for city operations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That is tab K.
Move approval.
Second.
Can we open public hearing on tab K? Public hearing is open on tab K. Public hearing is now closed. Move for approval. Who seconded? You seconded? Well, anyone wish to record a no?
Item passes 4-0. Tab L. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, ratifying the execution of the attached agreement between the City of North Miami and Cool Breeze Air Conditioning Corporation pursuant to resolution number 2014-R-56 for the removal and replacement of 2 air conditioning chillers for the police department building at a cost not to exceed $219,453 in accordance with the invitation for bids number 42-13-14, Police Department, 2 chillers and controls replacement, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
Second. Now public hearing is open on tab L. Public hearing is now closed on tab L. Anyone wish to record a no?
Item passes 4-0. Tab M. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, ratifying the execution of the attached agreement between the City of North Miami and Road Rate Construction, LLC, pursuant to resolution number 2014-R-56 for the engineering, construction, and commission of a force main at a cost not to exceed $349,468.44 in accordance with invitation for bid number 33-13-14 Northwest 2nd Avenue Force Main Improvement Project, providing for an effective date and all other purposes.
Move approval.
Second. Tab M. Public hearing is open on tab N. Public hearing is open on tab M. Public hearing is now closed on tab M. Second, and I seconded. Then anyone wish to record a no?
Tab M passes 4-0. Tab N, as in Nancy. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving the attached water facilities plan addendum to the City of North Miami Water Distribution Center System and Storage System evaluation to address financial and environmental issues relating to the proposed water distribution and storage systems and water meter upgrades so as to obtain funding from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, FDEP, State Revolving Fund, SRF, in accordance with Florida law, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
And
Second.
public hearing is open on tab N. Public hearing is open on tab N. Mr. City Manager, can you give us some explanation about that?
What this item is actually is a revision to the city's SRF program, which is the State Revolving Fund. We are applying for an additional $4,903,000 to replace all the water meters, which is within the city's service area. These water meters are going to be replaced with the electronic read water meters to update our meter reading system.
How many do we have in the city?
Over 22,000 residential meters.
That's when you're gonna apply for a loan to the state to
We are going to
replace.
amend our loan right now with the state.
Or you have the loan now, you're gonna
We
come
have
up with an
$6 million
amendment.
presently, and we are amending it to add another $5 million to include the water meter replacement.
That's when you're gonna replace all the water meter throughout the city.
Throughout the city
About 20,000.
within 2 years, yes.
Okay. Now the reading gonna be more accurate.
The readings are accurate, yes, but we are going to change all the meters. You know, you're going to get better meters and real-time read. When I say real-time, any customer could go
Better
to the
reading.
counter. Real-time means that you could actually go and you could get the actual reading on the meter as it progresses.
That's when the resident
The
will be
residents
able
could
to
actually-
read
yes.
the meter.
You could go
by
online
himself.
and get all of that information. The part of the program is to give the software and everything to the resident. They could access their account online as well.
Better reading.
And better reading, yes. Better accuracy.
Okay. That's when the city of North Miami gonna spend about $5 million to replace all the meters throughout the city.
That's correct.
For a better reading. That's what we're gonna
For better
read in the
accuracy.
air tomorrow.
For better accuracy.
Okay.
Any water meter that we have in the system would be accurate within 97% of the meter read itself.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on tab M.
William Welsh, San Souci Estates. Going to the electronic meters, I used to live in Bell Harbor. They replaced the old meters that we currently have, put in the new electronic meters. It took 2 people for 88 homes, 2 days to read all the meters. When they replaced them with the electronic meters, it took 1 person less than half a day to read all those meters, plus he also read all the meters out on Collins Avenues for all the condos in half a day. So it would be a huge savings in manpower for the city. The $5 million will be paid back very quickly, depending on the cost of our meter readers and how long they actually take to read the meters in this city.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on tab M. Maybe the resident don't want it. Okay, tab M. And I have a question for you.
You haven't closed it.
No, we haven't closed it yet. Okay, public hearing is now closed. And I have a question. When you shut down the water, when you have to reconnect it, someone still has to go to the house to reconnect the water?
Well, there are 2 things.
Or
We
will you
could-
be able to do it electronically
It
with a
can be
remote?
set up remotely as well. That can be set up. The whole,
You said that can, but it's not included in that package.
it's going to be part of the electronic meter package.
Okay. And another problem, and that sometime we are facing, if they shut down the water and the people show up after 4 and pay, until what time can we reconnect the service? After hours.
Oh, the after-hour service will still be handled by.
Do you have an after-hour service?
The after-hour service
On-call service?
is presently handled by our water plant staff and is only done on an emergency basis. It happened over the weekend, over the last weekend, where an account was turned off. We had staff at the water plant responded immediately within 2 hours, and the water was turned back on.
And they responded
After they pay?
really quick.
Okay.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about after hours. I'm not talking about the
It is after hours I'm talking about.
Okay, that's when you have an after-hour service.
Yes.
Yeah.
On call.
No, it's not on, well, the water
You have a
plant
permanent person.
the water plant is operational 24 hours a day.
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about reconnection.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that it's okay if my water turned off, which it did, couple of months ago. If the water turned off, my water turned off 4 o'clock
Correct.
in the afternoon, which your department, the water department, closed at 4 or 5.
That's correct.
So you mean within 2 hours you will have somebody turn on my water, even though that I come after hours or the last minute to pay it?
If there's proof of payment, we can turn on the water within 2 hours, after hours.
At what time do you close? The utility department.
The utility department closes at 5.
Okay, you close at 5. Someone come at 4:45.
As
Because
long as we get a proof of payment, your water can be turned on.
you say can be.
Yes.
Will it automatically be done?
Not
It-
now. They don't have
N-
the
as of
system.
now.
It,
I'm talking
as
about
of as of now, if we are informed of it, it can be done.
Okay, that's when you have people working after 5
That's correct.
for reconnection.
Not only we have
I'm
emergency.
talking about reconnection. I'm not talking
Yes.
about emergency.
Yes.
We know you have emergency plan.
I just want to clarify. It's the staff at the water plant who handles after hours and emergencies for water turn on and reconnects.
Okay.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Okay.
How much that in the 5 mil? Huh?
Pay the bill.
How much is not all of us are as fortunate as you are. Sometimes we don't have the money right away, so I'm sorry if I don't have it. How much would it cost? How much is it gonna cost the constituent out of the $5 million to replace the meters?
It's already built in the charges that we have, that you pay for water, for the
So
water
that's not
purchase.
gonna, it's not gonna have an additional charge?
As part of the loan application to the state, the present rates have been considered as a repayment process.
But this is something that we have to make sure that we advertise while we're advertising we're changing the meters, because we're giving the idea, which if we have another 5 million, people probably think that there will be an increase on the
No.
water bill. So we need to advertise that as well.
Yes, it will.
Thank you. And roll call, please.
Okay,
On tab
for the
N.
record, the motion, tab N is a Nancy. Motion was made by Councilman Galvin, seconded by Councilwoman Keys. Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril.
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Tab O, proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and the City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of North Miami and the Dade County Police Benevolent Association, Inc., approving a 2% cost of living increase for all bargaining unit employees effective August 1st, 2014, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
Second. Public hearing is open on tab O. Public hearing is now closed. No comments.
Is that already accepted by the?
That's for the executive session we had. And
No,
when-
I know that we did
Yes.
pass it, but
Yes.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Motion was made by Councilman Galvin. It was seconded by Councilwoman Steril. Mayor Bieneme.
Yes.
Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Steril.
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0. Tab P. Yeah, tab P. Proposed resolution of the Vice Mayor as acting mayor and City Council of the City of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the execution of a software maintenance agreement in substantially the attached form between the City of North Miami and Newer Systems Corporation as required for the Police Department's computer-aided dispatched CAD and Records Management System, RMS, software program pursuant to resolution number 2008-89 and corresponding standard software license and service agreement at a cost not to exceed $147,005.72 for the period commencing October 1st, 2014 through September 30th, 2015, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Move approval.
Second. Public hearing is open